Good morning. How are you? Well, the weather's changed, hasn't it? It's gone horrible out there, so I don't know what's going on. Feels like winter again. The hats on, and all sorts. Um, let's get on with things. I found myself falling into a sharpening thing the other day, which is great, because I needed to do some sharpening before I got on with the camera. And that's just led me to believe that I really need to sort my sharpening things out a bit more. I stuck that stone to its base, which I'll show you in a sec. And you know what? I'll show you now. Hang on. Oh, I should say, yay, video number 29. So welcome to video. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to video number 29. Please like and subscribe and share. This is the thing. I don't know whether you know, I'm not moving. I think I've been on the same amount of followers for the last 2 weeks. 530. I need more. I need you to share. If you find this entertaining, if you find it relaxing, if you find that you're learning things, if there's tips and things, all sorts. Please share. It makes all the difference. And this thing. And this thing, thank you very much. You guys know who you are recently. Thank you very much, Simon and Philip. So yes, so far you're the two guys for May, and we're only at May the 8th. Happy birthday, Mom. Right. Comment, share, subscribe, like. You've got to do it. You've got to do it. I need to grow. I need to grow this. So please. Right, let's get on with showing you where the stone is now. It was glued up to there, and I left it glued onto that. I actually put it in some cramps. If you want to see more of detailed parts, I've got still photographs in my Instagram account, jam.73e, where you'll see some stills of this. Right. So I'm going to set you guys up so you can see what's going on. As you can see, my stones are having a bit of a bath, bit of a soak. We're going to do some work on these now. We're going to make it so that you can, well, I'll show you. Hang on. How's that? Is that all right? Okay, better get some of this stuff off because I don't want to get... Right, welcome to the corner of my workshop. Yeah, remove all jewellery and stuff that you don't want getting wet and yucky. Right, what I'm going to show you is I've already made a start on this. So yeah, this glued down so well, and I've got to say that these modern stones, which are man-made, are aluminium oxide, which is the same sort of stuff that the kitchen worktops are made from. So that's quite different recipes, but anyhow. So one of the things I want to show you, and I'm going to try and get under here, is this breakout thing that you can have happen when you're using stones. And I haven't addressed this yet. Well, I have on this edge. And there you can see some cuts from the bandsaw. You know something? I've just realised. Oh, I've got my glasses on. It's because you're a bit close. Okay. So I'm going to address this now, and I'm going to show you what I do. I have done in the past, but I haven't done it for ages. I did it to this when I first had it because it was part of the instructions. But you sort of forget what's going on, and then suddenly you end up with this razor sharp edge down here. That then, if something happens, you get a chunk off the end. Right. Yes, my stones need a bath of water, and if you're in a workshop situation where you don't need to take the stones out and about, then I think that's fine. Would you like to get a bit closer? I don't want you to get... How's that? A bit closer? Right, so basically I'm going to be working in this area here, and I hope I don't cover up what I'm trying to show you. The good thing to do with Waterstones is have a small trickle of water, and if you watch any of the Japanese guys, they have beautiful setups of water just dripping on the stone, which is fantastic. Right, this is an old diamond stone I've got, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this sharp corner off. I've done it to those corners. I've done it quite a bit to this corner because, as you can see, there's still some areas that haven't been touched. But what you're after is you're after that bevel, and what that bevel does is that bevel moves the edge of the stone that you're going to use right up to here, but it's actually got a body of material behind it, so it won't chip away. That's essentially what we're going to do. So let's get on the 300 grit side, And I'm just going to do that. And if you want to round it, you can round it. And if you want to show how good you are at beveling and holding 45 degrees, do it. Bit of running water. So the end that hasn't been done, so this end you can see bandsaw marks, you can see all sorts. Let's show you how, and this is real-time stuff again. So let's just get in there. I'm going to put a bevel on this end. I don't mind a round on that end. It's got rid of some of the chips. Now look, there's a thing here where you can use diamond stones for flattening your Waterstones, diamond plates. That's okay. What you don't want to do is use your Japanese chisels on diamond plates because of the makeup of the steels, and this is only what I've read. The makeup of the steels can clog the stone and wear the stone, feel as though the stone is getting worn out. So that's what we've got, a bit of a slurry there. Let's wipe that off. Oh, quite a decent bevel already. I'll stop, that'll do. It's because I'm that there. So now I'm going to come in down here and I'm just going to clean up the end. What for? Well, it's a bit of a mess. It looks a bit untidy. You guys will, I'm sure somebody out there will pick me up on the fact that, oh, your stones don't look very nice. Woodworking is about controlling timber and tools and things. And one of the first things that you should know about and learn about woodworking is it's all about angles. And the sooner you get to hold an angle, whether it's 90 degrees, 25 degrees, 30, whether it's 1 in 7 for 1 in 6 for dovetails, as soon as you start to control those angles and maintain them through muscle memory, that's when your woodworking is really going to start taking off. I've got a few of the guys that are getting really good at holding these angles and holding the position of a chisel or a blade or pencil even. Pencil's important. Right, so that one's, look at that. Well, that's nearly done, that's great. Brian, in the comments of the last video, Brian mentioned, I'm glad you didn't cut the stone down. Yeah, the intention wasn't to cut the stone down in the first place. I'd forgotten that, before I started the video, that I'd actually got this bit of Korean off Mark, who's very kindly, because he had to glue his stone to something, because his stone was just a very thin stone. And I suggested to him, look, glue it to something, because as they get thinner, as I've shown you with that one, you know, that's what was it, about 6 mil? If that wasn't glued to that backing there, that would have broken by now. So I'm going to address this one in a sec. So do you want to watch any more, or shall I come back in a few minutes? Let me just do this bevel on here. So again, holding the angle, 45 degrees to the top. And as I say, it moves that sharp edge further inboard, which gives you a body of material behind it. Let's see how that's doing. Really could do with the tap over here, just on steady flow. So if anybody says, oh, you're running your tap, there's a reason I run my tap as well. I'm at the end of a line, so it helps clear the pipe. So that's something that's checked regularly, so I'm aware of that now. All right, let's have a look at that. Just a bit on the end to do. Just that bit on the end to do. Look at this, it looks beautiful. That looks pretty good. This side needs doing. Do you want to come back in a minute and I'll move it on a bit? Where are you? 9 minutes, yeah, come back in a minute. Just should show you while I'm here, you can do it the other way around as well. You can put the plate down like that and hold the stone like that. And if you find that easier, that's another way of achieving the same results. As you can see, while you were away for a few seconds, I've tidied that up. But if you, yeah, you can put the plate down and hold that above. probably sounds like I'm shouting. Sorry, I've just realised that the microphone's right next to me now. Oh, look at that! It looks beautiful. So let's get that angle again. 45 degrees. I'll finish that off, and then can you actually see the tap? It's just a fine. So what I thought I'd show you is I've just done some more on this. So this is looking better now. Tidied the ends up, got that bevel on, tidied that up. That looks great. I've got a bit more to do to that. Let's show you now actually, because I've been getting on with another one. So the next thing really that I need to do to make sure this sits in my little wooden holder over there that you've seen before is just knock these off as well. Knock these corners off. Sharp corners. Sharp corners are going to break off, so we might as well. "45 degrees, it makes less noise up here, doesn't it?" Let's turn that up a bit. So as I say, down that way, down that way. That's good. Don't forget those ends. And this is because there might be some slurry dried in my holder over there, and I just don't want them. Let's just take that bit of muck off the back. I know what that muck is, and I'll tell you about it another day. Don't want to get onto that right now. So look, what we've got now is, you saw that stone in that plastic holder on the previous video. If you haven't seen the previous video, I recommend you go and have a look through them. As I say, this is video number 29, and all these are a journey. So if you want to get in with it, go back to the beginning and see what I started doing and what I've been going through so far. It appears that I don't really do much work, but I don't actually show you guys some of the work I do, because you don't need to see that. So anyhow, I've sorted that one. That doesn't feel sharp at all now. That feels really good all the way around it. I've got that beautiful big, what is it, 10? Beautiful 10,000 grit on there. And I'll just keep an eye on these. As soon as I feel an edge going, I'll just keep an eye on it. And actually, the fact that it's a bit bigger than that helps me, doesn't it? So let's put this one in there. Let's put that one to one side. I've done this one as well. This is my original King 1200 deluxe stone, which I've had since 1985. I'm going to show you a book in a minute. And I've just run a bit over this just to tidy it up, just to get it, because the problem with leaving it in a bath is the water does go a little bit yucky and it starts to stain, and it's quite easy to just tip it out and replace it. But if you get into this sort of stuff, which I'll tell you about in a sec, that should stop some of the muck and rusting. So it shouldn't come from the steel, it's just going to come from the stagnant water and the slurry. Right, I'm pleased with that one. That one can go down there. I'm pleased with this one. I've knocked all the corners off. I haven't done that corner there. Let me just do that while you're here. If you're still with me, thank you very much. Stay with me, because the rest of the stuff comes in a minute. And don't bother fast forwarding it, because you'll miss it. Right, so that's done. That stone's done. I'm going to work on this one, and then I'll come back to you. Don't forget, this is my 6,000 grit that had the splits, and I've repaired it donkeys years ago. But I'm going to tidy this up a bit so that feels a bit more respectable and cleaner in the. I can't preach people looking after their stuff if I don't look after mine as well. So I will get on with that, and I'll get back to you guys in a minute. Welcome back. So I want to tell you about a book. It's over there. I'll go and get it, and then we'll go. It's a pretty good book. It's by Henry Lance. And this book, I'm sure, I mean, people correct me if I'm wrong, but in the 80s, mid-80s, when all the interest in Japanese, I've got to show you this guy, when all the interest in the Japanese tools came flooding into the UK. I'm sure there's some excerpts of this in the Woodworker magazine. And I just got really into it. This book was, where are we? 19th of October 1991. So I just quit work and I'd started going to college, because I did my college year in 91, 92, where I did quite a bit of woodworking to gain City and Guilds. Anyhow, this book has got so much in it, and it's well worth getting. It's a real Bible, and actually it goes back to the days when woodworking was not as money orientated as it is now. There wasn't so much money around, and one thing that I really want to show you is one of the techniques in there, where the guys weren't using these things. These things weren't around. They were, but that plate would have cost you, that size would have cost you an absolute fortune. And the Japanese guys weren't using them. Their method of keeping their stones flat was to rub the stones together and work their way through the stones to make sure that they didn't get any hollow. Now this was the bit that really caught my eye, because they were just saying, oh, you can do this. And I was into woodworking some, I don't know, 7 or 8 years by that time. And what I'd found was when you got an oil stone, if you wanted to buy an oil stone, it was expensive. They weren't cheap at all. And when somebody said, oh, I've got an oil stone you can have, this oil stone they said you could have had got a big dish in it, and it was hollow in the middle. And it was almost like flat wasn't important then. But you can't do this to oil stones. If you think you can, or if you know anybody who can do it and how to do it, put it in the comments below. The idea is so that you're rubbing these two against each other each time in preparation for the next time you sharpen. So you go through this process and you mix the stones around a bit. So we've got 6,000, 10,000. You do all of that, and it just keeps them in check. They may not be, you know, they didn't get the feeler gauges out and start saying, oh, 1/1000 of an inch or whatever. They got them so that when they were rubbing them up and down like that, they would grip like so. Capillary action, all of that lot. And it would just hold there. And that was flat enough. That was flat enough. There's an obsession now, probably because there's more engineers got into woodworking and things. And you've got the likes of Carl Holty, who's got his fabulous planes that are just so expensive, but they're just little engineering masterpieces. They're not, for me, they don't need to be, a plane doesn't need to be that perfect. You can buy a cheap 20 quid Japanese plane and you'd be amazed by how fantastic it is. So don't think the more money I spend, the better everything is. It's not like that. So the stones go up against each other like that. That keeps them all flat. You can't do that with oil stones. I've cleaned all of these up. They've all had a lovely bath now. This is tidier, look, tidier all around. I'll try and look after them a bit more now. The intention is to do more of these videos and more work for myself rather than for other people. I hope to be at some point in the future creating my works rather than making things for people. I think that's the way forward. I've got plenty of years left. This one I haven't really touched because this is so new, but let's give it a rub on there. I want to show you this as well. This is how the stone came to me, so I haven't had to bevel this. So that just shows if the stone comes with these bevels on, they're bevels worth maintaining. I'll go through this with my chisel sharpening, which we will get to sharpening soon. I'll go through this with my chisel sharpening and blade sharpening, I should say, about maintaining bevels and a maintenance level. I've let this go because I've been busy trying to earn a living, which isn't that easy. So let's go through these. Let's put them down there. And if you've gone by now, well, you've gone. To all those that have gone, they're missing out. So this one, I could get a scrubby type implement. There you go. Let's wash this down a bit. let's make these look a bit neater. What I'll do then is I will wash all of these off, lay them on there, hold them for maybe a still shot for the cover of. I've got to tell you as well, for the cover of the YouTube, just remember that my videos, I don't do any editing. I just press the pause button as I'm going along, and that's it. That's my way of editing. It means I'm actually spending time on the woodworking rather than on a computer messing around, adding music, doing all sorts, which on some videos is fantastic. Joe and Vicky are in there. And we all need to see something like that, but sometimes you don't want the music as a distraction. You want the real stuff, what's going on. So let's clean this out. So this is good to do. This has been getting grubby over the years. I probably need to find another couple of containers. And people say water and all of that. Do you want it in the workshop? Well, do you want loads of oil in the workshop? They're both as bad as each other. Right, let's. How do they look? Oh, they look all right. They look all right. Shall I get you out of there? Oh. What do you think? Think that make a good cover shot? So I have to think of all this. Let's move that out of the way. That's my tea thing. Move that out of the way. Oh. Right, how are we looking? No, still not good enough. Oh, that's it. Jamie, pause it there. Got it. Okay, let's get these dried off on the bench and I'll show you what the next thing is. Welcome back. I'm not sure whether you did, but I've just done myself some tea. So, feels like an intermission for me because a bit of time has passed. But anyhow, you guys are still here. Right, so what can I show you now? If you watched the previous video, you'll know that this is my... this was 3 and I cut it down a few years ago, to 2, and then last week, or the last video, I said, right, let's just do 1. And this, as I said before, this base was initially for that stone to fit into, and that's great, and there's that stone, which is brilliant. And the 1200 is the first stone that you use. It's a coarse stone, and then you go on to the finer ones. This was my second stone, and this is the 6000, and that fits in there. So just by tidying these up and knocking these corners, I can feel that that's going in there much better. There's a bit of play, but I don't mind that. With the fact that there's water going to slop into there, it'll hold its own anyhow, so that's fine. So that's the 6000. That's that one. And then this is the latest, which is latest on this block, which fits there as well. So I just need to go back to this stone, because this stone can wobble around, and I did think, oh, I could make like a thing to go around it and all sorts, and then I thought, well, I should use this rubbery thing they give me, so that can go on there, and that can sit in there. And then I thought, well, we have offcuts, so why don't I just use this little offcut here to just pop in there, and that's it, and that's fine. So now I can, this is I can sharpen now. So I don't want to go into sharpening on this video. We're 24 minutes in, so I don't want to go to this. And thank you for sticking with me, because it's so easy nowadays to just switch away. So just stick with it. Right, so this is with a bit of the honite that I mentioned earlier. This is water with a bit of honite, and yes, these are water stones, and I can put that on there. And it's a bit, you're not really controlling how much comes out sometimes. So what I tend to do is I screw the top on and then just loosen it a bit, and then I just loosen it until when I shake it, 2 drops come out. Now that for me is fantastic. Don't tighten it back up, just leave it there. So there's no need to worry about pouring too much on or not enough or whatever. I can just control it by screwing the knob, which is similar in a way to the way that the Japanese guys with their dripping water works. It's just controlling that. So anyhow, let's just, not sharpening, well I am, I'm just flattening the back of this, but let's just show that actually this little stand works. I can go up and down the stone, I can keep it in check. It does wobble a bit on the rubber mounting. Not so worried on big flat areas like this one, but maybe I would be worried and concerned about it on smaller chisels. So I might keep this for this. I might get rid of that. I might make a sleeve all the way around, or like a panel all the way around, so that because that, if you watch the end of this chisel here, just watch the end of that. Do you need to come in a bit closer? Sorry, I thought you'd be all right there. Come a bit closer. That's wide. That's the wrong way. How's that? Yeah, sorry about that. I can see you as well because you're on the monitor, so I can see what's going on. So sorry. Right, flatten in the back. Yeah, watch this end and watch how much wobble there is in this rubber under here. So if I just do that, you see it going up and down? And I can see the water down here coming out. It's okay for now. Put it on the list of jobs to do. We'll improve that. I'm sort of getting into sharpening slightly, and it wouldn't hurt because the next video is about it. The next video is about the camera, but anyhow, sharpening very soon. So it's important the back of chisels and plane irons are flat. So I'm just flattening the back of that off. This poor old chisel, you've seen it before, really ought to have a name. If anybody can think of a name for it, that would be great. Anyhow, what I've just done is I've just flattened the back of that a little bit more. Can you see how grey it goes? The stones do tend to leave it nice and grey. 1200 grit, that's the colour of 1200 grit, I suppose. That's going to be, you just can see that's going to be a fabulous chisel once it's sorted. Right, I must mention while I'm here, the next part of, and this is the area that people get a little bit iffy about, water on my metal, what's going to happen? I'm going to start selling camellia oil. It'll be a way of me making a few quid. I can't see me ever rolling in cash. But anyhow, the camellia oil is the traditional Japanese oil, vegetable oil, that one spot of it on there, wipe it all over, wipe it round. If I go away from 6 months now, I don't have to worry about that chisel at all. So it's just a thin film. Don't know whether you can see that. Can you see there's a slight, where are you? See how there's more of a, come on. There you go. A little bit more of a shine, a little bit more of a sheen. Oil, great. Camellia oil is great. It's odourless. It's got all sorts of going for it. I'm going to start selling it. I'll label it all up. It'll be available in my workshop, and at some point it might be available online. I might even do a thing where if you buy me a coffee or whatever, and a couple of coffees or whatever. We'll see. But early days, but great to have it on the bench. Don't use WD-40. You don't use WD-40 on them. You can use 3-in-1, but it's a bit thicker. It's a bit much, really. It's a bit, I want to say it's a bit too oily. Camellia oil, Japanese traditionally, from squeezed cold pressed from the Japanese fruit nut. You can see a slurry on here. I just want to mention this slurry. Slurry is great. The slurry actually helps the, where are we going? This, can you see better? Oh, it's all the wrong way around. The slurry helps with the cutting, so that's great. And I could flatten this off. But anyhow, that's that in there. So the next thing I need to worry about, and do I need to worry about it, is if there's an excess water around here. I did think the other day, do I need to put sides on here to stop any water going everywhere? Well, it doesn't get that wet if you do it with this. You know, you put it on there. It's literally a drop every time. I think putting creating like a bund around it is probably overkill. I don't use that much water. Saying that, if I were to go through a number of these and do a number of chisels, I might be in a position there when I might have some water. So I might put I think I will, I'll put a strip of wood around here, making sure that the holdfast can still get over the top, because I do like this method of the holdfast holding. Oh, something else I should mention. Let me zoom out so you can see. Let me just pause you for a sec, because you won't mind if I just pause you just for a sec. So while we're here, it's worth mentioning that there are two different ways of people sharpen. One of them is, you can probably just see, it's just out of shot. One of them is people put things in the vise and go that way. Sorry, it's slightly out of shot. I worry a bit that way. That's the way we use planes, and you're using your body quite differently for that. Don't forget, I'm not saying this is a right and a wrong way. I'm just saying this is the way I prefer. I prefer going into the bench and back off again, because what I teach my guys that come here, guys and lady, is that when you're sharpening, when you've got that angle right, it's a muscle memory to hold those there and move your body backwards and forwards. If you move your body backwards and forwards and lock your arms, you'll find you can maintain the angle. I am getting into sharpening. You'll find that you can maintain the angle much easier. Now, I've seen people out there doing this, which is fine if they're comfortable. If their body is rigid and they're comfortable moving their arms and they're doing that, that's fine. If you can get on with that way, that's great. As I say, oh, and don't hold it square like that. Hold it at 45 degrees, it's much easier. So I find the muscle memory is good to lock the arms and just move the legs, move the weight of the body, the centre of gravity, from the front leg to the back leg. By doing it that way, you will get much more control on there. So I'm not doing this as a sharpening, I'm doing this as a position to have the stone on your bench to sharpen from. I find it much, much better. We're at 32.5 minutes. I need to drink my tea. I think we'll stop there now. Do you want to have a quick look at what these are before we go? Some people might be going now, but hey ho, need to eat that apple. So there's what we've been doing today. They all look great. They all fit in there now, which is brilliant. I can stack them on top of each other and put them to one side in a bath. Bath is the next thing I need to sort out, really. Don't forget, you can get Waterstones, slipstones for Waterstones, and you mustn't forget the old Nagura that you need. You don't necessarily need it to make that slurry. Look at the slurry, and that's 1200 grit stone. You don't get much of a slurry on the finer grit, so as soon as you go to 6000 grit, you won't get a slurry like that very quickly. It'll take a while to get it. So yeah, the Nagura is great for sorting, for getting the slurry up, and the slurry makes all the difference. It carries all the little particles of steel, which you can see, which is the black stuff in there. Right, well there you go. Thanks for joining me on this one. So it'll be part 2 of care and maintenance of your Japanese tools. I don't think I've missed anything out. I think I'm going to knock a strip of wood for around there for next time, and I'll bring that up next time, because I think the next time I will be sharpening, and I'll do a sharpening video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for staying with me, some of you, for 29 videos, which is great. Please comment, share. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, but if you've stuck with it to this point, there must be something. And it's also a lesson in winding down a bit, and don't click away, just stay with it. Patience. We need to learn patience. There's such a lot to being patient, and I think that's something I've got from Japanese tools, Japanese way, is I am quite a patient person. I know one of my kids is probably saying, "Dad, you're not patient." Whatever. Sorry. Right, I'm going to go. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.